Adidas is suing him for $250 million, and that they are stealing his designs, right? And this is something interesting to pay attention to because you're talking about intellectual property, which is an important part of business. And I remember, as you guys know, I did have some conversations with Kanye, and I remember he did express that when we were talking, and I thought that was really interesting. And so one of the things that I think this says it, and you can actually, I put the video on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. But one of the things that I mentioned there in the video is that, or actually Kanye mentioned this, and then I'll give you my response to this. And he said that Adidas is using their 50 years or 150 years of business experience to screw an artist, basically, to screw over an artist. And I do agree with that, right? I think that there is a level of strength and acumen that businesses gain when they have experience, when they've been able to do this for a very long time. Adidas has plenty of lawyers. Their lawyers don't get tired. They don't tend to run out of money, and I don't doubt that they're very angry. And so effectively, what I believe is going on is they're going into the fine print of the contract, and they are pretty much making Kanye pay for the fact that he single-handedly wrecked the company. He single-handedly threw Adidas stock into a nosedive. And so what Adidas has is not only an angry CEO and angry management, but they've got thousands, if not millions, of angry investors who are very upset about the money that they lost. My wife's actually an investor in Adidas, and she doesn't own a lot of shares, but she does have a few. And I didn't know that our family owned Adidas stock until literally a couple of days ago. Now, here's my assessment. What I want to do is actually show you guys. I'm not even here to really give you an opinion one way or the other. I can if you want me to, but I want you to look at Adidas stock, and I'm going to actually put it on the screen, and I want us to kind of sort of think this through and sort of look at what the dynamic has been since Ye left the building. All right, so here is a graph of Adidas stock. All right, so Adidas stock is here. All right, so you look here, you see that Adidas it did pretty well today. The last month has gone up. Last 6 months has actually been positive, 6%. Year to date, slightly positive, about 3%. Over the last year, 38%. And I believe that this time here, this dip is about the time when Kanye might have left. I'm not sure. If you look at the last 5 years, though, about 17% of shareholder value has been destroyed. So you look here at the peak at 187, and it drops, and 187 is a perfect number because there was a 187 on this stock. And or maybe it's here. Maybe this is about the time when they hit the all-time low with Kanye, and the stock price dropped to $50. So one little financial lesson you could pick up from this is that if you saw this happen here and you saw Adidas get their butts kicked in terms of losing the billions of dollars that came from the Yeezy brand, having it affect their free cash flow as a company, which likely murdered the stock price. If you still felt that long term Adidas was a viable company that was eventually going to recover, this would have been a great time to buy the stock. This would have been a great time to add some Adidas to your portfolio because if you look here, the stock's at 50, 50, 56, 52, around that. And you see now it's at 102. So you would have doubled your investment. So one of the things that you can pick up from this is number one, that a bad company is not always a bad investment, and a good company is not always a good investment. There are some great companies that are terrible, terrible places for you to put your money because they might be overpriced, like Nvidia. Nvidia is one of the most powerful companies on the planet, but there are some people who are selling their Nvidia stock and not buying Nvidia because they believe Nvidia is overpriced. So that's the first sort of little lesson there. The second part of this is that I owe you all, kind of an honest assessment in terms of my interaction with Kanye. And we did talk about Adidas, and I think he wanted me to help with the Adidas thing by mobilizing the black community and some other things that I just told him I wasn't going to do. Because I just kind of felt like it'd be corny for me to say, let's all go protest Adidas. I'm not Al Sharpton. I'm not trying to hold, protest rallies outside Adidas offices because they didn't give Kanye his money. Um, I would say that what Kanye was involved in, though, is a type of economic warfare, right? Economic warfare says that when you're talking about love and economics, all's fair in love and economics, and basically Kanye came into Adidas as really a behemoth. He has a well-established brand. It's stronger than Beyonce's because Beyonce was also signed by Adidas, and nobody knows it because Beyonce can't sell shoes the way Kanye can sell shoes. Kanye just had a unique connection and relationship with his audience that led to his funny looking shoes just flying off the shelves. Everybody loved them. A lot of people under the age of 30 tend to love them the most. I don't buy that type of stuff, but I can understand why people do. And so Kanye came in and had a huge impact. He actually made probably 50 times more than the CEO, and which is astonishing. And he kind of had these interesting philosophies, like I can't take financial advice from somebody who makes less money than me. And I remember kind of saying, well, I'm not. He said that about the CEO, and my position was, well, I make less money than you, but that doesn't mean that my thinking is less valuable than yours because you got your wealth because white people like you. White people don't like me. White people have most of the money, and they will pay a black man for things that are not necessarily always good. So um as much as my opinion might be worth whatever it's worth, I would almost say that the best move you could make at this moment is to go and work something out with Adidas because they really want you back. Right now, their shareholders are just going crazy because they're losing billions of dollars, and they've given you a lot of leash. They're giving you a lot of leeway to say a lot of stuff that regular black folks can never get away with. White folks couldn't get away with it. They let you get away with it because you make so much money for them. But there's a point where they're going to be forced to sever that relationship, and they won't be able to go back even if they wanted to. And so when I saw Kanye sort of expressing grief about being sued by Adidas, and they're suing him for a lot of money. They're suing him for $250 million. And I believe they're going to continue to press forward. I believe they probably have some grounds for the lawsuit. They're going to drain 10, 20 million from legal fees, I'm sure, from him if he defends himself. And then if they win a judgment, that's going to make a massive dent in his economics. Now, maybe he's got that kind of money sitting around. I have no idea, but I know that that's going to be a problem. And here's the other bigger issue. The bigger issue that Kanye would have is that no one else will do business with him. A lot of other companies will say, you know what, we know this guy can make a lot of money. We know this guy is talented. We know this guy is famous, but we also know this guy is a jerk. And there are a lot of people who run these high power positions, the executives at top companies. And I talked to some of them, and they wouldn't touch that deal with a 10-foot pole because business requires a certain element, just some modicum of professionalism, consistency, and even conservatism for it to actually work. In order for you to do business with anyone, and this is true not just when you're talking about Adidas and Kanye, it's really true for yourselves. When you're thinking about who to do business with, don't just choose people because they're talented or because they're famous or because they're rich or because you can make money. Because stable money is better money than unstable money. Stable money is good money. Unstable money is bad money. Unstable money is unreliable money. So someone you work with may make you a ton of money, but if they are hard to deal with and they don't understand things like simple ideas like communication or relationship management, or if they are a narcissist or whatever it is, that person is going to only torture you because you're going to end up making a lot of money at first, and then all that money is going to disappear because they can't get their stuff together. They can't focus. So in terms of soft skills that I highly recommend that you give to your kids, grandkids, or whomever, I would encourage you to help them develop the soft skill of knowing how to do business in a way that is respectful of the people that they're working with. Never let them if they become famous or whatever. Don't let it go to their head because I can tell you, in my opinion, I feel like Kanye's fame has kind of gone to his head. And in a world where people think that money's all that matters, I think this guy really thinks everyone wants to do business with him just because he can make money. And so the way our conversation sort of ended was I said, look, I don't have as much money as you. But I know how to make money, and I don't want any of your money. I'll be glad to help you because you believe in powernomics, and I'll be glad to support you in that cause. But really, I remember thinking to myself, this is an interesting conversation, but I have more important things to do today. I have things to do with people that I'm building with that are going to be stable, that are not ego driven, that are actually trying to complete the mission. And so I'm sorry, Kanye, actually have to go. And so that's not just a reflection of my Kanye experience, but it's more so to just talk about what it means to do business. And if you want my 2 cents on the whole Kanye thing, I think that this lawsuit is very serious, and I think there's a reason why he's publicly discussing what he's going through. Now, if you guys have any questions, I don't know what happened with Rashad. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought he was coming in tonight, but apparently something happened, and so he's not going to make it today. But if you have a question for me, I'd be more than happy to answer some questions before we bounce out. And I think I have another guest that I'm going to try to bring in. Um, Give me one second here. Let me see. If you think of the question you'd like to ask, and I'll answer the question in a second. So think of your question and put it in the chat, and then when I get done texting my friend, I'll look at your question. Okay. Okay. And that is why being only pro-black will not work. Well, you know what? That's a good question. Okay, so I'll say this. I'm not actually I am very pro-black, but I'm not anti-white, and I think that's something that that I think is important to distinguish. Give me a yes if you understand that you can be pro-black and you don't have to hate white people in order to do it. I hope everyone understands that. I don't, and in fact, I think that being angry at white people really is a waste of your energy. I think it's something that distracts you from the purpose. So I'm pro-black because everybody has to pick a target. Everyone should be focused on something. And so if I'm only pro-black and me being, or if I'm seen as pro-black and you think that's a waste of time, well, then I would look at you and say, well, you're very pro-white. How is that working out for you? Because you get up and go to work every day and you're donating 100,000 hours of your life to white-owned businesses. You're very pro-white. So how is being pro-white benefiting you? Because you're not even white. So to me, if I wasn't pro-black and I said, you know what, I'm not going to donate my time to the black community. I'm not going to do work with among black folks. I'm not going to build for the black community. Well, who would I be building for? Where would I be putting my energy? Well, maybe I'd be going to some job on the corporate plantation and working to build somebody else's business. So, in my view, that could be argued as being a form of pro-white. Oh, wait, I just got a text from Rashad. Uh, let me see here. Let me text him back. Let me see here. All right, so maybe he'll come in, and then we'll actually get to have the conversation we planned on having. So I'll answer questions till Rashad gets here. What's a good side hustle I can start with about 10K? You know what? There's a list of let's see here. I made a list of side hustles you can start for under $100 at drboycebooks.com. If you go to drboycebooks.com and look for side hustles, you can find it. I would say that I'll text it to you. Actually, text the word money to 87948. Text money to 87948. And what I'll do tonight is I will send out a link to the side hustles list. So you can feel free to take a look at that. Side hustles are a great way to increase your income, and I highly recommend looking into that. So yeah, so just text money to 87948. Let's see here. Cassandra Brand, aka Miss Alexis. You not black or white, you're green. I don't think I'm green. I thought I was black, but okay. Let's see here. I think green does matter though. I will say this. I do strongly believe that all the problems, about 80% of the problems we complain about when it comes to racism can be solved with economics. A lot of times you think that they have an issue with you because you're black, when really they might also have an issue with you because you're weak and you're poor. And those can be synonymous, unfortunately, in America. Dr. Claude Anderson, in Wednesday nights when we do our Powernomics training, he was talking about the history and the origin of anti-blackness. And what he argued was that there's a disdain for black people because we allowed ourselves to be enslaved, that they just had no respect because they came from Europe. In Europe, if somebody disrespected you or dishonored you, you would duel them to the death. You would pull out your gun and just shoot it out. You would do a sword fight or whatever. And so they say, wait, these people will just let us enslave them and they're not going to fight us until the death. What kind of weak people is this? And that's what the argument that he made. So I would almost say to you that when you have people that stand up, it's not very common because I think that you're trained to not stand up for yourselves. What do you think about Kanye's Genius $20 million commercial of him going independent, getting the #1 album? Yeah, I think that was great, right? I saw his ad on the Super Bowl, and I thought it was smart. He put his daughter in there, like that's a new voice. It's she's great. I'm your bestie, Miss Westie, right? It was great. It was brilliant. It was simple. Yeezy.com, it was right there. I went to the website. I didn't understand the website. It seemed kind of overly simple, but maybe I'm not artistic enough to appreciate it. But anyway, but that commercial did make money, but I think that might be why Adidas is suing him, right? Because at the end of the day, a lot of it's all about who has legal rights to stuff. It's not about who created it. And I want you to remember that when you're forming your contracts and doing your business, you might argue, well, it's wrong that you're doing this to me, it's wrong that you're doing that to me. But morality is not the same as legality. That which you think should have happened ain't the same as what the law says is supposed to happen. So I see we got Rashad in here. How you doing today, man? I think you're muted, brother.
Okay, there we go. I'm good in yourself.
I'm doing good. Good to see you again.
Good. Likewise, likewise, likewise.
Yeah,
Uh,
we were worried. We were about to put you on the milk carton and call the popos. Make sure you're all
man,
right.
listen. I had a crazy layover that just took some time away.
Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah. Well, that's good. We're glad to know that you are safe and that you're here. And I want to say welcome. And I want everybody to. I'm going to let Rashad kind of help me introduce him because I don't have my notes in front of me. Now, Rashad, I know he's a boss. First of all, you are the CEO, and give me the name of your company. You have more than one company, right?
Yes, Pro Painter USA and DeCoven Roofing.
Okay, Pro Painter USA, and what's the
Yep,
other one?
DeCoven Roofing.
Dekoven.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's start there. And I'm gonna tell you guys why I invited Rashad to come into class today. It's because we talk every week we do in Dr. Boyce Real Estate, we talk about different ways to make money in real estate. And when I met you at Lamar Tyler's event, the traffic sales and profit event, I remember you talked about roofing and you were really excited about the opportunities that you've seen and sort of sharing that, with other people that look like us. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times we know the simple ways, the old ways to make money. Like we know about basketball players getting big contracts, or we know about getting jobs, but there's all these little slick ways that people are making insane amounts of money. And I said, you know what, it would be fun to really sort of explore that. So let's start from the beginning. Which of your companies between Pro Painter and Decoven, which of these companies gets the most of your time?
Um, it's kind of a split. It's really like a 50-50 split. I would say my painting company though gets predominantly of my time. Um, we have systems in place that make scaling and working on the roofing company a little bit easier. You know what I mean? Because the painting company has been older for me in terms of ownership, in this aspect.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna make a guess, and it's gonna be a bad guess, and I'm wondering if you
Mhm.
can fill in the blank for me. So, would it be accurate for me to say that Pro Painter is about painting, right? Painting maybe houses
Yes.
or whatever. Okay, and
Yep.
that Decoven is about roofing, right?
That's correct.
So we got those two categories, roofing and painting. And
Yes.
I'm describing this as an ignorant person who doesn't understand the intricacies of either one. What am I missing? Fill in the void in terms of is it like a type of painting, types of structures a
Yes.
specialization that you have? Tell me more about, let's talk about the painting side. Tell me more about that business.
Yeah. So in the painting side, there's sectors